Hey guys, welcome back to the Comic Book Lowdown. I'm Wellington, and before I get started with my review, I'd like to give a shout out to 4 YouTubers that I really enjoy watching their videos, and I suggest that you guys watch their videos too. I'll be linking their channels to my featured channels and my own channel, and I'll be linking their channels also in the description. And definitely check them out because they have great content on their channels, and just check them out. So anyways, their channels are Mongo Stomp Time 07, Fat Stack of Comics, Running with Comics, and Sleepy Reader 666. So check them out. They have really good content. But anyways, getting to the books, I got Deathstroke the Terminator, issues 6 through 9, and from 1991 by Marv Wolfman and art by Steve Erwin. And this is a 4-issue story arc called City of Assassins. And as you can see by just the cover of the first issue, we've got Deathstroke and Batman. So naturally this is taking place in Gotham City. So there's a lot of story that happens on in this story arc, and it's really too much to cover in full detail. But the main players in this story are, of course, Deathstroke, Batman, Commissioner Gordon, a hitman by the name of Jeremy Barker. He's a mob hitman. Detective Pat Tracy, FBI agent Lorna Gaines, and Scoops. And Scoops is Deathstroke's assistant who sets up his meetings and stuff like that. So again, 7 people that you need to really make sure you pay attention to. Oh, and there's also a second assassin that is very important to the story that we don't find out who it is till later, till the very end of this story arc, and it's very surprising actually through how this whole story's laid out. But anyways, of course, the mob is rampant in Gotham City. There's mob hits everywhere, and now we have Jeremy Barker, who is a former mob hitman for the mob, and he's gonna testify against the mob in court, and his testimony will pretty much take down all organized crime in Gotham, or at least most of it. So, but that comes at a price, because now Barker wants, full protection. He doesn't want to be imprisoned for any of his crimes. He wants to be let go scot-free, and so that's a trade-off that they're willing to make, except for Detective Pat Tracy. Detective Pat Tracy has a history with Jeremy Barker, because Barker actually killed one of her partners in the past, and so she believes that he should get his full jail time for his killings, and he shouldn't be, treated, or not treated, but he shouldn't be let go, is the point. So she's not in favor of this whole witness protection program that he wants, but that's what they're going to give him. And that's where FBI agent Lorna Gaines comes in, because her and Pat Tracy, are at odds. Detective Tracy wants nothing but to have Barker put in jail for his crimes, but Lorna Gaines, wants to do this by her law, and she's an FBI agent, so she has more authority over the case and all this kind of stuff. And Commissioner Gordon says, my hands are tied. I gotta listen to her. I gotta listen to Gaines. She's the FBI. What can I do? So, anyways, so there's this setup where the mob originally tries to hire Deathstroke to kill Barker, because of course they don't want Barker spilling the beans in court. So Deathstroke denies. Deathstroke doesn't want to do it. So they hire another assassin, and this assassin then tries to kill Barker, and in trying to do so, she kills. The assassin is a she. She kills a cop. She kills a cop, but she doesn't get Barker because Deathstroke swoops in, kidnaps Barker for his own needs, for his own wants, and gets away. And so, because this whole case is so, it's just not going well anymore, Gordon decides to turn to the Batman, and that's where the first issue ends off, and we get some Batman in the second issue. Second issue, Deathstroke wants to know what he knows about the mob and what he knows about this second assassin that nobody knows about, because the second assassin has just killed a police officer, but by using police Gotham City PD issued weapons. So now there's somebody on the inside of the Gotham City PD. Not very surprising, but they're working with the mob right now, and they're giving guns. They're either giving guns or they're the assassin themselves, because they know information. They knew where Barker was going to be because he was being hid out by the police. They knew where he was going to be, and she tried to kill him. And if it weren't for Deathstroke, Barker would have been dead, and the whole case would have not gone through. So Deathstroke wants answers. Barker doesn't know any answers, but Deathstroke being Deathstroke, he's relentless and pretty much tortures Barker in a meat freezer to try to get answers that Barker doesn't even know. But he then stops, leaves Barker in the freezer, and wants to go get answers for himself. So he goes to the mob themselves and pretty much tries to get his answers, and then Batman swoops in, and then issue 2 gets a huge fight between Batman and Deathstroke, and I'll actually show you a couple panels from that fight because it's so epic. And Batman actually gets beat. Batman gets beat up pretty good by Deathstroke in this fight, even though Batman does put up a fight of his own. Here's a page where the fight starts. Got Batman and Deathstroke going at it. Then the next page, fight continues, and Deathstroke really gets into it, starts whooping Batman. As you can see, Batman's on the ground here. Deathstroke's beating his face in. So, very expressive art by Steve Erwin. And that's, so, Deathstroke pretty much beats up Batman, and but Deathstroke's pretty beat up himself, and he goes to go back to Barker, and he doesn't know that this assassin, the second assassin, is on his tail and has been following him the whole time. Also in this issue, we get some shadiness from Detective Pat Tracy. She's been hiding from the Gotham PD, and nobody knows where she's at except, for her and her family lies about where she's at. And she's kind of sneaking around, and she kind of wears some of the same clothes that the second assassin wears. So right there in part 2 of this story arc, I'm thinking that we already know who the assassin is, because she has a reason to want Barker dead, and she's hiding around being very shady, and she's, wearing kind of the same clothes. So put 2 and 2 together, and, bam, we have our assassin. There's a lot of action in this 8th issue, but I really like it. We get a little bit of origin from Deathstroke. Deathstroke coming from military, where they were testing a truth serum on Slade Wilson. Didn't work the way they wanted, but it enhanced his agility, his strength, his speed. They gave him an ability to regenerate from, non-lethal wounds, and it pretty much enhances his whole "my word is my bond" thing. That does take a good place in this issue, and that's where I think that, you know, that essence of Deathstroke lies, is where, you know, when he says something, he says it, it's done, he's got to do it, and he's not going to go back on it unless he dies, and Deathstroke is a hard man to kill, so he's going to go through with his plan, or with his word, I should say. But anyways, so we get a little bit of that in this issue, and what happens in this is that there's a lot. There's a fight between Deathstroke and the second assassin. There's a fight between Deathstroke and Jeremy Baker, where Baker actually whoops Deathstroke because of how his state that he's been left in after fighting Batman. He's in no state to fight right away, and that's where Barker takes his chance and pretty much beats Deathstroke. And right before he can lay down the finishing blows, where the second assassin shoots Barker, and then Deathstroke has to fight the second assassin. But so that happens in here. Huge car chase happens in here. Deathstroke apparently knows that Dick Grayson is Nightwing and that Bruce Wayne is Batman, because as Slade Wilson, he visits Wayne Manor during a party and pretty much discusses the business that they've been going through with the whole Barker deal, and I guess Batman knows this. Another cool thing I really liked about this, way off topic, they actually show Batman working out, and I always wondered when Batman worked out, and so now I finally know that Batman works out in between his shifts at night. So he'll go out at night, beat up some guys, come back, work out, go back out again. So just a little thing there before I forget that. But they start discussing the whole deal with Barker, and Deathstroke's motivations aren't really revealed ever as to why he really wants the information about the inside police person or whoever's been helping the mob out. His motivations are not very clear at all throughout this whole thing, and that's one thing I didn't like about it, but for the most part I really loved it. There's this great part at the end that I don't even know how to explain it without wasting like 14 minutes, but it's really cool. With it deals with Barker about to be taken in by the police again, and then is kidnapped by the second assassin. But later, you know, they start testing out the truth serum that was used on Deathstroke. They start testing it out on Barker. They have him tied down and all this, and the assassin is, you know, conducting these experiments on him, trying to get him to tell the truth and all this kind of stuff, and they're torturing him. He feels the pain, but he's not really getting the effects. And that's where we find out at the end that Barker, the Barker we thought was Barker, was actually Slade Wilson wearing a mask. And so then they start torturing him some more because it was Slade Wilson. And then he starts hallucinating, and that's where we start off in the fourth part of this, is that he's hallucinating all these bad things that have happened in his life, and probably in the first 5 issues of this, first 6 issues, because I think there's a 0 issue, he starts hallucinating about all that, and he just starts beating everybody up in the whole place. And I'll show you guys this page where he's just whooping everybody, and Batman has to come in and save him pretty much, because Batman was following him the whole time, because like I said, Batman, or Bruce Wayne and Slade Wilson, they were discussing their business, and this is all part of the plan, except for the whole hallucinations and stuff. You see Batman coming through. Besides the hallucinations, this was the plan, was for Deathstroke to be kidnapped. And at the same time, we get here, Commissioner Gordon suspends Detective Tracy because they think that she's the second assassin. So even again, I'm like, I'm justified in thinking that she's the second assassin, because even everybody, her motivation is there, everything is there for her to be the assassin, but apparently she's not. And that was a huge shock for me. Absolutely huge shock that she's not the assassin. And when we find that out, it's very, like, again, it's very shocking. And we find this out because she's threatening Scoops with a gun. Scoops trying to eat some cereal, watch some TV, and she's pointing this gun at him. But we find out and she decides to prove that she's not the second assassin by donning the uniform of the vigilante. Not a character I'm very familiar with, but I read up on him and now her a little bit, and there's been a couple of vigilantes before, and the most recent one had just committed suicide actually, and Scoops happened to have the uniform, and so she dons that uniform, and again, there's so much action in here, it's absolutely crazy, and so the vigilante and Deathstroke team up now. They both team up and they take on the mob, you know, head first, and there's a bunch of pages of action here, and then Batman joins the party, and it's all out war. Here's a good page where you get to see a lot of them. Batman swoops in, you got Deathstroke, vigilante, Batman, you know, war, pretty much. Everybody's fighting everybody, and it's 3 against a lot, yet they win out. Deathstroke then falls in the battle because he still has the effects from all the drugs they drugged him with, and at the same time where he can't fight anymore, the second assassin tries to run away, and Pat Tracy in the uniform of the vigilante chases after her, and we finally get to find out who the second assassin is. I spent almost the whole story arc thinking it was Pat Tracy, and then just 180 turn, and it wasn't at all, and it was actually FBI agent Lorna Gaines. And she was leading the case against Barker, or leading the case for Barker to testify against the mob, and she was working for the mob the whole time. And it was just absolutely crazy that when that was revealed, it was just so weird, and she ends up getting shot because she goes after, she tries to kill Deathstroke, and the vigilante, Pat Tracy, ends up killing Gaines. And that's how we end off. You know, Batman's like, alright, I'll get out of my town. And Barker gets on his witness protection program. He's still a jerk, even after all the things he's been through. But now I don't think he's going to be a jerk so much because Pat Tracy let him know that she's going to be around and watching over him all the time. She's going to always know where he's at, and he better watch out because one of these days she might actually go through and actually kill him. So he'll be hanging low for a while. And another thing that just got me off topic with this whole story is the way it actually ends. With we can tell that Deathstroke and the vigilante are now going to be partners together, and it's starting to snow in Gotham, and the vigilante asks Deathstroke, she's like, have you ever made snow angels before? And Deathstroke's like, where is this coming out of? And then they jump off this building, and they're like, well, it's always a first time for everything. And that's how it ends, so I'm guessing that they're going to go make snow angels. And that's kind of weird. And but anyways, and that's how it ends. Really good story arc. Really good couple of issues. I really like this Deathstroke. I thought I really loved the Deathstroke from the New 52, which I still do. But I kind of like this Deathstroke a little more. It's a little more human, a little more stoppable. He's to the point where he's better than at least in old Deathstroke by Marv Wolfman, he's better than most people because he's a merc, he's trained, but he's not unstoppable like he is in New 52. But I think that's going to change pretty soon, actually. So I don't want to talk too soon about it. But anyways, yeah, I definitely recommend picking this up if you ever can. I got it for really cheap. Issue 7 I got for 90 cents online, and the other issues I was getting them for $1.10, $1.30 range. So definitely you guys can find it on the internet. They don't have it in trade, but I went to mycomicshop.com, ordered it from there. Total cost came out with shipping, bags and boards, and the comics themselves came out to about $8. So definitely I would say invest your money into this, because Deathstroke is a really cool character that a lot of people don't invest themselves into, but I definitely recommend Deathstroke. He's really fun to read, and he doesn't get much of a chance in the DCU except as a villain. And if you follow him, he's really cool, and he's, you know, really interesting of a character. He's got a good premise. Another thing I got for you guys on the list of things to show, of course, I always show you guys my art, and got something pertaining to this story that I was saving for this review. And I got Deathstroke fighting Batman. Deathstroke lunging at, not really lunging, but pretty much coming down with a sword on Batman. Batman's got his grappling hook, and they're kind of in a free fall, but, you know, cool Deathstroke drawing, cool Batman upside down, whatever. Anyways, that's pretty much my video. Can't think of anything else to say besides, you know, try to check it out if you can. Order it, because they don't collect it. Like I said, you got to get in issues, but it's definitely worth the money. It's cheap. And anyways, this is my video. Wellington signing off with Comic Book Lowdown, and I'll see you guys next time.